Okay. This is just kind of a test video. Yep, that's everything that changed. That's a TV show. Some more TV shows. Audacity. Okay. Guess I'm going to. Um. So we've got a bunch of cues, and I think they are drawing. Cutscene. Yeah. So every cue that's there, this is gonna draw. The easiest one to do should be my graphics cue. Um. So basically, a graphics object has a position and a texture, and we're just gonna draw it at that position. So it's quite simple. It's white batch dot draw texture. Um, we want to pass in the position, and color is gonna be white. And what that means is what color we want to tint that texture at. And if we tint it at white, it just doesn't really tint it at all, basically. So if this works, it's not actually going to work correctly at all. The positions are kind of okay. That's a bit weird. So that does not look right at all. It's basically drawing everything. Yeah, okay. So it shouldn't be all scene objects, it should be currently displayed objects. So let's go again. But the positions actually looked correct. Yep, positions are right here. I mean, there's some ugliness on the monitor and other things. I think something's supposed to be here, but okay. So the picture of Wilson is not there. But yeah, I mean, these positions are basically correct. We're just missing text and audio, and that's it. And I would like to clean up these pictures as well, because they look shit. But that's the thing, I mean, the thing about this game is people like it because of its shittiness. So if I clean it up, does that mean I'm actually making it worse by making it better? I don't know. The next easy thing is sound. So what happens in sound? Um, we're actually going to use the update. I mean, you can't draw a sound, can you? So it shouldn't really be update. We should probably have a method called like public. Oh, we should probably have a method called public void on start or on fire. You know, it's not on fire. It's just like when the queue is when the queue triggers, and then we could on trigger, and what it would do is on trigger it'll play the sound, right? But you know, we'll do that later. So what we want to do is, if the queue has not been played, then globals, no, audio manager dot instance dot, no, not initialize, instance dot play audio engine. Is it audio engine or is it sound bank? I think it's sound bank. Play queue file name. So basically, just gets an instance of the audio manager and calls soundbank.playQ, and it passes in the file name. And if it's being played, and then we just say being played equals true. Okay, that should work. So let's play it. Another thing is this logo. I mean, it's got some gaps in it in the top left section. Is anything playing? I don't think so. Of course not, because we haven't called this update method anywhere. So we need to go in the cutscene, and we'll just change to update and remove expired queues. So we get a queue, and then we do queue to update, and I think it needs game time. But actually, it doesn't. But you know, whatever.
Wilson is playing Dodo. He is a major pro and already has 3 kills.
3
but then
kills.
something terrible happens. His Dota-hating dad comes home from work
So this is
early.
something that didn't draw.
Son, I am disappointed. I told you to code me a butterfly game. Dad, I'm still downloading the compiler.
That guy is a really good
Downloading
voice
the
actor.
compiler my dick. That's the last straw. Come with me.
So released into the wild, Wilson must now fend for himself. What challenges await him? Only time will tell.
So it looks like the backgrounds aren't coming up correctly, and the animated things aren't drawing either because they haven't got a draw whatever attached. Is it gonna crash? It should crash soon. When this cutscene ends, it should crash. 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 I don't know. Maybe it won't. Game state manager. Here. Does it have a gameplay state? No. Oh, I know why. It's because it's not exiting like it should. So we never actually leave the cutscene state. Okay. So what should we do next? We could do text next. Or we could exit the cutscene state. Or we could figure out why the background's not working. Let's exit the cutscene state. So what we can do is, if we see a basically we want to detect an NQ, and if we find an NQ is inside currently displayed objects. So basically here, if we're adding in an NQ, we could just add in another check if it's an NQ in the scene, as a cutscene. We could put it in here. It's a bit ugly because it's just a bit ugly. I mean, the end condition really should be when there are no more queues, but the data in the game does not really account for that at all. So we have to have explicit NQs because I don't want to change all the data. That's going to be too annoying. So what we can do is we can write something dirty like this. If Q as NQ does not equal null, then we want to end the scene. Are there any other times we'll end the scene? That just calls me like end scene. And we'll just call this down here private void end scene. And what would we do? We would do this for sure. Game state manager dot instance dot change state equals next state. No, what is it? Return state. Are we in the cutscene object? We are. What did I call? Oh, rejoin state. Of course. So yeah, we'll just change state. We probably also want to stop all the audio, so we'll do a audio manager dot instance dot stop effects, which just stops all the sounds. And I can't think of anything else. But there's gonna be something else. Something like, gee, I don't know, something. Yeah, okay. Another thing is we need to call this initialize. It's not actually getting called, and we want to call that in game cutscene state. So when we enter the cutscene state, we'll probably do a cutscene. Let's just do this. This is like cutscene dot initialize. Even though there's only one cutscene, so basically probably don't need this because we can only be referring to one cutscene. Okay. Let's play. So what should we expect? The cutscene should end, and it should crash at the end of the cutscene.
Wilson is playing Dota.
I want to end the cutscene
He
now.
is a major pro and already has 3 kills. But then, something terrible happens.
I also want to.
His Dota-hating dad comes home from work early.
I also want to.
Son, I am disappointed. I told you to code me a butterfly game.
But Dad!
Yeah, let's not sit through that. I mean, come on. How many times do I have to watch that damn clip? So should we do text or should we do? I would say we want to end the cutscene if somebody presses enter. So we can just listen for that. If controls dot pressed once, keys dot enter, and cutscene. And cutscene. What? Enter. Let's call it in cutscene. For some reason I call it cutscene like that. That was a refactor. It just renames the method and also renames all the places where it's called. It's pretty cool. Okay, so if we start the scene
Wilson is
and
playing
press
Dota.
enter, it's going to crash. Great. The reason it's crashing is because the next state is a normal gameplay state, and we don't have one of those in our dictionary. So we can just create it. So we can go game state dot state dot normal gameplay state, new gameplay state, and probably needs a content thing, and we can do that. But we don't have a gameplay state, and we probably want to call it gameplay state. It's a bad name because the whole thing is a game, but whatever. So we want to make a new gameplay state class, gameplay state, and all these states have to inherit, not inherit, but they have to conform to the iGameState protocol or interface. Yeah, interface. Okay, so we've got a template here, and basically we just need to change a bunch of things in the template. That and that, and this is just it doesn't do anything, but it's like a kind of like a placeholder. We'll fill it in later, and it means that the game state manager now compiles. So we can run it and press enter, press
Wilson
enter,
is playing.
press enter, and we're in gameplay state except it just doesn't do anything. And we can prove that by putting a breakpoint in here. Current game state is gameplay state. Great. And yeah, it's a grog gameplay state. Cool. So we've got enter working. The backgrounds aren't working. We could look into that, but kind of don't want to. Let's do text. Okay, so text is a bit tricky because we need to get the text and then cut it into separate lines. So if the text is really long, it's going to appear on multiple lines. And then we also need to draw a backing to it so it looks nice. And we don't have to do this. We don't have to write all that code because I already wrote it. It's just somewhere else. It's in game1.run cutscene, I think. I think it's called run cutscene. Run cutscene. And this is basically update cutscene. All this code's been commented out because it's shit. But I still need to refer to it because it's useful sometimes. But we don't actually want run cutscene, we want draw cutscene. Draw cutscene. Draw. Oh, it's commented out. Okay, so draw cutscene. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so previously, it would check. This is kind of how we did things previously. It's not very OO at all. So we see if the client would check what type of queue it is, cast it, and then draw it. When really, you could just do a queue not draw and let the queue draw itself. I wasn't smart enough to do that back then. It's pretty basic. I mean, really, that's like first year stuff. So. Yeah, so text does the same sort of thing. If it's a text queue, cast it to a text queue, and then draw it. So what we really want is to look at with draw subtitle. Let's draw subtitle. Okay, and that is pretty complicated. I think it calls draw subtitle, calls wrap text, and then it calls. Well, I think that's it actually. Just draw subtitle just wraps the text into multiple lines, and then draws those multiple lines. So we want to grab wrap text, and we also want to grab draw subtitle. We're not actually gonna just smash it. We're not gonna just smash it into our text queue object. We just want it for reference. So I'll just put this down here. It's probably gonna crash. Yep. Because of like certain assumptions. So this is a global variable that it no longer has access to, which is good. It doesn't have access to font either. Sprite batch, another global variable is missing. Content manager, another missing global variable. Yeah. So it actually needs a texture. Okay, so we probably want to wrap it when we create the object. Whereas this time, in this code, it actually wraps it every update, which means it's wrapping it 60 times a second. And each time you wrap it, it's going to be the same. So wrapping it 60 times a second is 59 times a second too much. So we will want, I don't really like this, but I mean, let's just do it, and then we can refine it later. String lines. And we'll also have, these will be private, everything's going to be private. Private list. String lines, private, list, string, vector2 positions. The alpha box is something else, and yeah. So wrap text is called here, and we pass in the width of the title safe rect. And the title safe rect is just basically the inner 80% of the viewport. It's a TV thing, because on TVs the edges usually get cut off. Well, not usually, but on some shitty TVs, there's something called the overscan. And what that means is you can't draw things in the far corners of the screen, or the far edges of the screen, because it might get cut off. You can draw stuff there, you just don't want to draw important stuff like HUD elements or text. No text can go there, basically. So, I mean, wrap text doesn't need to change too much, and we can just include that in our code. I don't like these uppercase strings. I don't know why C# has them. Just one of these weird things. I used to like them, obviously, but no, not anymore. Okay. So what font do we want? We want a font called subtitle font. And we don't have access to that anymore. We could load it up in here, but that's not really nice. We might want to create an object called font manager. Do we want to do that? Where am I storing fonts at the moment? Fonts. Yeah, these are just getting stored in it's just getting stored in game 1. So this queue needs some sort of way to access the fonts in the game. So we'll probably just create a new class, font manager. It's a bit of a bummer. It's not really the best way to do it, but I can't think of a better way. So I don't know if Internet is public or not. I'm probably just going to copy the audio manager way of doing things. Yeah, I do like that. So font manager. We don't need these guys. Copy. Initialize. Does it need to initialize? Yeah, I mean, it's an optional initialize. If you want to initialize up front, you can. If not, you also don't need to. It's just that if you call it the first time without calling initialize, it's gonna lag a bit. Or maybe not, I don't know. And let's just create a sprite font object for all of these guys. So there's 5 of them. Sprite font. Public read only, sprite font. Centered font. Debug font. I don't think we use debug font. Dialog item font. Definitely use that. Menu font. Subtitle font. Grab these guys. And then load them in the private constructor. I'm doing this all wrong. I should just copy this code from somewhere else. Game 1. Where are the fonts? Here you are. I don't like these names, but names are easy to change and so menu font. That's not supposed to be there. This one's just called font. Subtitle font. Dialog item font. Log. And this one's called. Oh. Okay. That's something completely different. Oh yeah, shit. we need a reference to a content manager. Alright, you win this time. Private content manager. And when we init, we need to pass in a content manager. Shit. Great. Yeah, so suddenly this thing doesn't work. Suddenly this whole pattern is stupid. Yeah, so it just kind of means we can't do this behavior anyway, because unless we made the content manager like a singleton, which we could, but I don't really want to do it. Yeah, we should. So initialize with just instance equals new font manager content. Is that good? Yeah, it's not great. So which fonts are we missing? We're missing, we got subtitle, dialogue, menu. I don't think the menu font is actually used anywhere. We don't use debug. We want centered font as well. Let's just get rid of debug, I'm not going to use it. So we got 4 fonts, so we want a centered font as well. Content.load, sprite font, font/centered font. Cool. So now the fonts. I should initialize where I initialized the audio manager. Yeah, that's good. Font manager dot initialize. Okay. Cool. So now those fonts should be all loaded up. And if we go back to the text object, where is it? Where it's in queues. Queues text. Yeah, so the next thing is we need to define this somewhere. We could just provide static here, but I'm trying to do things that are not stupid. I mean, that's stupid. What is that anyway? It's like it's not really a rectangle. It doesn't have a height. Okay. So we want to pass in. The font we want to use is font manager dot instance dot subtitle font. That's very long, but it's kind of okay. Where else we use font there, and anywhere else? Here. Okay, so that part works. Next we need to store the title safe right somewhere. And I'm thinking we just store it in globals. Do I have a global class? I usually do. I mean, previously this whole game was global, so what did I type? It's a comment, no big deal. Oh, utils. But utils is not really the same anyway. Let's just make it globals. Yeah, I mean, viewport works here, but let's just make a globals. Add new item. Globals. So we want to take that. Who uses this? Oh, it's used by itself. Okay. So globals. Public static rectangle. Viewport rect. So there's new rectangle. Public static rectangle. Title is safe rect. There's new rectangle. And this class doesn't know about rectangles, but now it does. And the rectangle is this. Cool. And how big is the title safe rect? It is. There's some code down here that calculates it. Calculate title save right. Yeah, so where's this set? Find all references. Get title save area. And that's here. That's probably... Oh shit, that's not that nice. Oh, that's actually quite good because we can... Oh fuck, but it needs to know about graphics. Let's just adjust it a bit. So this could be private static, rectangle get title save area. So we want to pass in a rectangle called viewport. Right. Maybe just a viewport title save. Nah, viewport works. Whatever. And that means we don't need this guy anymore. And we'll just replace this with this. Cool. And when we set this, we just call get title save area 0.8f. But it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because we didn't pass in the right viewport right. Cool. Now, is that going to work? No. Doesn't it? Oh, okay. Oh, do I want to change this? Yeah, let's change it. Cool. Probably should be do this kind of stuff a lot actually. Okay. Yeah. So now we have a viewport right and a title save right in our globals. And let's get rid of this viewport right. There's only two. And then we will just call globals.viewport right. Cool. Now back to text. So we've got title save right. We also need access to this guy, the texture. Which is super annoying. How does graphics load itself? Oh, we actually pass in a texture, so we actually load in the client code. We've got to change that as well. But do we? Yeah, we should. Okay, so we can do something fun and just go rectangle title save right equals globals dot title save right. Rectangle dot viewport right. How do they spell it here? Viewport right. It doesn't need it, does it? No, it doesn't need it. Cool, it doesn't need it. Actually, this code, no, yeah, let's just keep it around. Let's just get it working because we probably need all this stuff as well. So next it needs access to a sprite badge, but it will have it because it's in draw. This is going to be in draw. But it also needs the font, which is fine because we've got the font. So we can go like this. Font. So the only problem is this guy, content. And it's just loading a white texture, coloring it black, and with 50% alpha.